The challenge series returns again, this time for week 134. Yeah, 134. I had to think because I incorrectly titled the previous episode. I had to just like double check in my head, like, okay, are we on the right number here? I think so. We start things off this week at the Glen for 675 Racing. There's a fair number of debuting drivers this race. Not really drivers, but cars. I mean, there's I think there's like one debuting. No, that's next round. I don't know what I am talking about. So before I talk out of my ass any further, let's just head trackside. And Watkins Glen is green. And I'm like trying to think, double checking my head. We're seeing most of the new cars up near the front of the grid. Just how the starting grid just kind of shook out in randomization, but it's going to be Silica leading us towards the S's instead. Our pole sitter was one new vehicle, Thea Angelos in a Nissan 370Z. Fellow teammates of hers, Lily Rose and Buck Angelos, similarly also have new cars. A lot of Nissans going Demon Sports way this week. Oh, Ellie dives Silica at the bus stop. We're already trying to change the leaders for a third time in about 45 seconds, but Silica will hold the Porsche at bay as we head towards the boot. Begstrom is off to a good start in this race. He's up to 4th from, I believe, 7th. Somebody is out of control. Let's see, what else is there of note? I believe... Oh, that mistake. That's not a mistake. This mistake. This is not... This is Jackson Steele driving this Dodge Charger. The leaderboard crew got this guy confused with somebody who is debuting in the next race. I guess they read the event thing and thought this car was a Super Bee because, spoiler alert, the driver that'll be debuting tomorrow, so to speak, is in fact debuting in a Super Bee. What is going on? But no, this is Jackson Steele. He just has a 675 class Charger. That was a bit clumsy from Compa. She kind of somehow managed to slide over in the braking zone and hitting Thrasher into the back of Buck. Also, Nico, don't block your teammate. I heard about that post-race. A conversation of all time. Kotora was getting a little, steamed, we'll say. And got her elbows out to finally get ahead of the super driver. Nico, of course, doesn't just go quietly, ever. Yeah, as expected, Buck, Thrasher, and not Compa, even though she's the one that instigated that crash, gets a pit. Also Umi, who I believe had an unforced error and hit a wall. Kind of hard to do that at this track, to be fair. I don't really know how that went wrong, but nonetheless. Kotori, the POV driver, who I haven't even mentioned anything yet, just went around to the outside of 2 cars, making contact with Garrison. That was scary. And she clears into 4th place. Yeah, already into the top 5, and we're, well, 2.5 minutes race. Yeah, that's not the line, and that's not grammar, Riker. 2.5 minutes into the race, Kotori is already has the leader in view, but she has to get around him first, obviously. Garrison trying to do right by his home track. Kotori, last-minute maneuver to try and go by the BMW. Garrison wanting to take advantage of what happens next, but I don't think he's really in any spot to. Kotori sweeps around the outside of Kevin Begstrom, and then gets right in behind her teammate Ellie. Garrison down the inside. He is in fact taking advantage of what happens, and that will put him ahead of the E92 as well, so opportunistic from the Corvette. Begstrom's not quitting. He's back down the inside, fighting for 4th. And I think Begstrom will he will return to the position, but that fight is very clearly not over, nor is this one for Kotori, who now takes her teammate around the outside, and still manages to preserve enough momentum to try and pass Silica on the front straightaway. And it looks like she just might do that. Now, Silica brakes. That was insane braking, but it was not enough. The 8C had the better line on the way in, and Kotori is the new leader just 4 minutes into the event. Bergstrom and Garrison continuing to go at it, and now Ellie is trying to pass Silica at the same time. That'll be easy as pie. And Garrison finally confirms the overtake on the BMW. Now he wants the Silica as well. Sweep wide. The bus stop is not the fastest than you think it is, but when you have that kind of momentum on the exit, anything is a passing zone. And now Garrison immediately goes from 5th to 3rd in like 2 corners, basically. Yeah, Lily and Sia's new Nissans are just kind of hanging out in the pack. The entire top 9 is sort of in just this fake train that was created by the battle for the lead between 4 cars. Not a whole lot happened the remainder of lap 3. Skip ahead to the start of lap 4, and admittedly there still isn't a lot happening, but Garrison looks... well, he's looking a little racy against the 996 up ahead. You see if that Corvette's horsepower can put him in a position to do that. It's looking possible. Yep, he draws alongside. Ellie brakes very late, though, to just completely deny access. Everything is single file. Was single file. Yo and Nico are going at it, and Logan is right there with them. He's gonna take advantage. Yo has been absolutely deposited. Never mind, Logan has missed the exit of the bus stop chicane. And now he will get down the inside of the Lancer. And that's the 11th for the Firebird. You could maybe get a top 10, but he's gonna have to be quick about it. But he's not gonna be getting any higher, as there is 9th place, like an entire corner ahead of them. You basically have the track split into 3 groups. Top 9, and then everyone else. And then we have the 3 cars in the back that got damaged. And even then, the top 9 has more so split into 1st through 3rd, and then 4th through 9th. With Spencer... nope, it's not Snyder-Raker, it's Jackson Steele in that car. For 45, Spencer Snyder is the 141. Thank you, leaderboard crew. Very cool for somehow getting a Super B and a Charger confused. But what's not confusing is that amount of fucking exit speed, to the credit of the Charger, regardless of who is driving it. They could another spot gain before Jackson Steele and Kevin Bergstrom will sneak ahead of the Celica of Silica on the exit of T1. Garrison is still in with a chance to get 2nd place away from Ellie. But she's a tough nut to crack, I'll say that much. She's probably better at defensive driving than me, but I was never very good at that, and maybe that's why my ass is sitting back in 14th. You klutz. Good thing that Camaro is built with sterner stuff, but that would be why Honoka found herself kidding. Garrison will not have a chance through there. Silica is fighting for her life against the Charger in her mirrors. That is a terrifying view to have right behind you, I imagine. Just a flat black muscle car, just breathing down your neck. I think Silica doesn't scare easily, despite her appearance. But everybody's pretty single file. Logan has in fact got himself into 10th place, but as I said before, he's not going to be getting any higher than that in the remaining time. Even if he probably is quicker than them, he still has to cover that amount of distance in what is effectively like 4 turns. And that's just isn't going to happen. But what is going to happen is Kotori will breeze through the last two corners here at Watkins Glen. And with one more light braking zone left, she has taken the victory here from the first round of the week at Watkins Glen. Call it a 1-2 for Mercury Racing as Ellie holds off the Corvette for second place, Garrison third, Bergstrom fourth, and Jackson Steele did eventually claim fifth from Silica. We will quickly get a view of how. It was basically the second I looked away. He got into the, what they call the toe of the boot, I think. Forced Silica to give him a lane, and then just managed to out-accelerate a Celica on a corner exit. She darn near got overtaken by Thea in the process, but she managed to at least keep the Nissan in bay. So, 6th place for a driver who was leading when we exited the first corner of the race. But clearly that Celica is all acceleration, and apparently not enough of anything else. But, well, Kotori had enough, as you can clearly see. Tuesday is here for Grand Valley, and no, I was wrong, this is not the 640 class race. This is the 600 class race. I kind of forgot where it was in the week because I kind of want to forget I was part of this race. For a couple of reasons. Not the least of which was the fact that I just drove like crap, but, I mean, I've been doing that for the last, 3 months now. I'm used to that much. I kind of look like Dexter Rollins at this point. Even though he ends up beating me this round. But, nonetheless, yeah, the 600 class racing here at Grand Valley Highway, the short layout, because the long layout, or the full layout, is a little lengthy for slower cars such as this. But, there's, I think, 2 debuting cars in this race. I don't... You think I'd commit this shit to memory? You really think I would? We are green from the second race of the week, and we can immediately see the singular new car in this race, let alone new driver. Goro Akiyama drives a Suzuki Jimny Sierra trim, and he started on the pole as the debuting driver. He's not going to stay there for very long if Kyle Hansen has anything to say about it, and he does. Sweeps around the outside of the Suzuki, and I think he will not be clear. Goro takes a fight to him and causes Hansen to scrape some of that paint, but eventually Kyle Hansen will sneak his way around. And we just see the spread of cars staying out through the hairpin there. Honeka's S14 is the POV driver of this round. She is currently mobbed in traffic at the moment. 3 wide with a pair of Hondas. She will get them both. I'm not sure if I was hearing Rin's Corvette or Noir's Camaro just there, but something was quite loud. I think it was the Corvette. Oh, this is just an absolute cluster of cars right here. Pretty much three wide into turn 1. Not quite, but it might as well be in effect. Goro has since lost second place to the Mustang of Nozomi. And now she'll try to get after that PRZ in the lead. Meanwhile, Honeka is literally surrounded by her own teammates as she tries to find some way into the top 10. Gets actually a smack from Ellie, go figure. But neither car was damaged, thankfully. We've already had Honeka have contact with a teammate once this week. Let's not repeat that. So has to go around the outside of Rin in the C3 and will make it work. Does she have momentum on the Nico? It doesn't necessarily look like it. No. Well, yes, but not really. Although the slipstream has added to that momentum, but it hasn't added enough. In 600 class, most of the car's straight line performance is pretty samey, so... Whoa! Sideways there, huh? It's always sketchy to make a move through here, especially in a car that is very, very clearly a little unstable, as Honeka's S14 really doesn't seem to want to decelerate. But still got ahead of Nico cleanly. And now it's Kotori's turn to get overtaken. Tries a crossover attack, that doesn't work. Kotori's probably seen that a handful of times, and also done it a couple of times for good measure. So she'll just out-drag it, because it is a front-wheel drive car at the end of the day, and they can only get you so far. Noir, meanwhile, trying to put the moves on Gemini for 6th place. I don't think she has to get too creative. I feel like she could probably just out-accelerate the S13, but instead she's left herself vulnerable to being overtaken by Honoka. That may not stand due to the aforementioned power of that Camaro, but maybe it just might actually. Noir will, however, get alongside Gemini and fight him. No, not really. Down to turn 1. The S13 just sort of tucked back into line and conceded that. The rest of that lap really didn't have anything of note, but now we have a 3-car fight for 4th position. Joseph Miller trying to overtake Thrasher at T1, but has instead left himself exposed to being overtaken by Honoka, and she will take advantage. Oh, sideways S14 passing the truck. So it'll end up being Honoka who ends up putting herself in 4th, despite the fact that was a fight between 2 completely different cars originally. And now she has a fair bit of work to do. Goro is like an entire hairpin up ahead. It wasn't until the start of the next lap that Honoka really got that Suzuki Jimny in her sights. And suffice to say, it was not a very pretty sight, for a number of reasons. Kind of hard to see in that light, but we'll just say, you know, future Riker talking. This guy doesn't stay around for too long, and the light has just shined on the reason why. And here's the other reason why. He works for Avenir, the same company that dumped dumped the sponsorship, I should say, of Muse back in like about a year and a half ago. Back when they tried to be a D1GP team and they left the Challengers at the end of the first season to do that. And clearly the workplace environment there has not matured any in the last 70 or so weeks, as, you know, again, the lighting is kind of awkward. It cannot. Alright, cool. Anyway, we're on the final lap. Nozomi is kind of on the back of Kyle Hansen, but not really all that close to him. Oh, everybody else, Honeka's kind of on an island. Goro is under threat from Noir, who's also been on her own charge up the field. Starting, I believe, 9th or 10th, and getting a top 5 unless she does something astronomically foolish, like letting Thrasher overtake. I don't think Honoka has any hope of catching the 2 leaders, so we'll just see if Nozomi can do something with that BRZ. But seeing as we have run out of straightaways, basically, unless she gets a really good run out of this last turn, it seems that victory will go the way of one Kyle Hansen. And she really did not get the run that she needed, so it'll be, I would have to imagine, a first-time victory for Kyle Hansen. For that matter, a first-time victory for, like, pretty much the entirety of the Seattle Speedstars team. And there he goes across the line. Nozomi right in tow, but can't do anything about it. A few moments later, Honoka crosses for third. Guru Akiyama fourth in his debut. Maybe, never mind, Noir has won that drag race and she will steal fourth. And Thrasher will have to also out-drag Joseph Miller to hang on to sixth. Wednesday takes us to Croatia for the 640 race I thought was on Tuesday, for whatever reason. Dragon Trail hosts the 640 class race this time around. And, I've heard some things. I wasn't here for this race, but I've heard some things, so... When I hear about a race I wasn't in, that's usually not the greatest sign, but... I mean... It could also just be a very excited member of Mercury that's like, you know, I won a race. I'm just like, you do that all the time. We're like, this team is the season 1 champion, like, give it a break. The lights are out for Dragon Trail, and one Fenny Golden is the POV driver this time around with a really good start in that DeLorean. Just kind of following Iris on the inside lane going towards turn 1. And I am having a problem with the camera, but already into the top 10 with just a very good launch and a well-chosen braking point for the first chicane. There actually is Spencer Snyder as they're 3 wide behind for 12th place. Looks like Silica is maybe going to outbrake the pair of them. But there is Spencer Snyder's actual car, a Havoline/Texaco sponsored Dodge Super Bee. The replacement for the outgoing Kevin Royce down at Mopar Garage. What in the hell, you're already up into 6th. We've been here for a minute. Slow your roll. She catches up to her teammate in the Mustang Boss. These two had a bit of a disagreement a couple of weeks ago, but this time it seems things are relatively civil. And now we're already into the top 5, and we have only just reached Sector 3 of the circuit. Reiko Mishima, meanwhile, is falling down the order pretty quickly. She was the pole sitter, but she's already been overtaken by Yo and by Evelyn Sienna. Whoa, fanning out on exit a little bit of there, I would say. Jennifer, I think, tried to block Fenny on, I think, either on instinct or just lost control on exit. Possible. It is the Firebird, and that is the Death Chicane, after all. Didn't really see what she was doing, but it doesn't really matter, does it? Oh boy. Oh boy. Oh boy. My dog is barking upstairs, for even he knows that this has been a very bad crash. This is not a better camera, GT7. There we go. Wow. Reiko just straight up dumpster on a straightaway. Oh, Mark, not Kurt, former driver. No time to react. It's just a mess. What is, I mean, I didn't want to do that. Ah! We'll just have to ignore the dum-dum upstairs. He doesn't know what he's barking about. From the chase cam... Yeah, that looks like she just stops turning on that little kink there. She gets collected in the impact. Ugh. Mark Wild's lucky that, he'd be lucky to be starting the second half of this race. Alright. Hey, Fenny, you heard of holding the brakes? Oh, Reiko, you ever heard of not reversing into traffic? You haven't even really had a chance to speak on the other debuting driver in the race. Rico does some funny wreck avoidance, or rather, I think just the Red Sea's part for her. Yeah, basically, a pair of Nissan just clear the way. But, yeah, safe to say that's a caution. No, right, that did happen in the back. I think a bit of clumsiness at turn 1, really. But, yeah? Tell us how you really fucking feel, Fenny. Yeah? Yeah? Fucking Christ. Alright, and we are back green from Dragon Trail. We have crossed one lap off the runtime, and we're gonna do it again. This time, Penny and Reiko are not on the racetrack, as they have had severe damage done to their cars. Yeah, that tends to happen when you both play a game of fuck around and find out. Bit of contact. I think Chica just tried a way to smack into the back of, yep, Silica. Klutz. People with orange hair running to the back of people this week. Other than Watkins Glen, where it was Compo who has pink hair, but that's not the point. That was also almost running to the back of somebody. I think that might have been that. I can't even tell. I don't think so, actually. As my dog continues to have a mental breakdown upstairs, probably because he sees a squirrel and there's nobody in the house to tell him that it's a squirrel. I'm just going to record so that my door is shut. I'm talking. There's going to be music in the actual episode, and there are car engines running. Matter of fact, let's go on board with POV driver Isabelle Aspinall, who had the most repairs to make in that crash somehow. I don't know how she had more to make than Mark Wilde, or maybe she was just slower with it. Who knows? But nonetheless, she restarted in last place, and she's already making her way into the top 10, passing Dick Trivial. Nearly getting turned by Dick Trivial, I believe, having to back up her exit to get around on her own sister, and that is as easy as like. I don't think Iris is going to put too much of a plus up against her own sister. I think you stop working and go back to replay cameras now. Iris, however, was not so civil and runs straight to the back of Rico. Is braking really that hard? I guess. Somewhere. Oh, okay, never mind. I guess we'll have to wait because she got damaged again. Meanwhile, Evie is going for the lead on Yo, and will get it on the way into turn 1. The Evo will fight back. Around the outside. 4-wheel drive advantages. Yo reclaims her lead. And there's Isabelle in the background, already making her way into the top 5. And that's just a path. That is a sardine can of vehicles right there. Especially looking at second through fifth. Yo has a bit of separation, but Snyder, Sienna, Xenon, and Isabelle don't have that. That is just a clump of American cars that are way too close together for anybody's comfort. And Isabelle is going to be the dominant one out of the 4. Numbers are hard. Xenon's still trying to pass Snyder. Should be doable. This is a tight corner. The Group 4 should have better traction by miles. And she was ahead, but then Snyder got on the throttle, and everything changed. They are still door-to-door. Eventually, though, Snyder is going to have to concede because that's the death chicane, and the Group 4 car is going to be unrivaled through their battle for the lead. It's not much of a battle. Isabelle just had a huge run from said chicane. You thought about sending it, but was just not close enough to really do that. And so not even 2 laps into the race, Isabelle has overtaken all opposition. And you can simply ride off into the sunset. And the sun, go! And now we just simply look back in the field to find the rest of the action. Having said that, there's not a whole lot of action other than Xenon getting back ahead of Snyder on the exit of the last turn. Liz with the braking of all time. Oh, my word, that was a calculated dive bomb, I guess. Fuck. Is it enough to stay ahead? It looks like eventually will be. That's a bad bounce, though, but she kept her foot in it. She must have learned that one from Logan. Now, if this isn't the most, like, Challenge Series battle for 9th or 8th even I have ever seen. You have a Tundra, a Richard Petty themed Plymouth Superbird, a hot pink Volkswagen Samba bus, and a lime green Group 4 car battling for 8th place. You cannot get any more Challenge Series core than that. Not really much of a battle, they are just kind of single file, but they're super close together anyway. And they're gonna probably get even closer. Oh, they got too close. Stick just ran into the back of Futaba somewhere. Yeah, it's quite a run. That's not really dive bombing range, but I think he just missed the breaking point. Just finds the back of the Tundra. And the Challenge Series core is at an end, or at least it will be at the end of the lap when they pit to fix their cars. But tell me that this doesn't look hilarious, seeing these three. I guess now these four, as Leaper just, yeah, in fact, did way better at the chicane than anyone else. This group of 4 cars running nose to tail through the death chicane is the image of all time, and Mark Wilde has never really been able to recover from things that happened on lap 1. Actually, he might have been damaged again, based on things, because I know Rico got damaged on lap 1 or 2. He's gonna at least try and get ahead of the R32, but he can't even outbreak that. Yeah, there's those two pitting, and I think other than that, the race is kind of just idly heading towards the end. Never mind. I guess this was while I was lapping at the battle for 8th. I missed Sienna make her way into 2nd over the Evo. Yep, just force herself down the inside, and that's textbook, I guess. That is a major push through the high-speed kink there. I guess that's what a Group 4 lets you do. Around the outside, Elizabeth goes. Just welcome to the Challenge Series, Spencer Snyder. Absolutely dunked on by a Magan trophy. Liz finds herself in the top 5. It's a decent day for Art of Speed. For the most part, at least. They've got a 4-5 in hand at the moment. Xenon's close enough, she could try and make it 3-5 with any luck. Yo's defense exists. She's already been passed by 1 dodge in the last minute or so. I don't really think... Well, Xenon could have a really good exit here, but I think she's just going to get blocked by Yo going through there. Yeah. She could take that faster, but she had to account for there being a car in her way. As you can see, even Liz got way closer during that. But it is the final corner for Isabel Aspinall. And with that gas, excuse me. Isabel Aspinall is your winner from Dragon Trail. American top 3 lockout, as Xenon will eventually get that moved on. It didn't look like she had much of a run, but I guess Group 4 just can break later because of their lighter cars, and my word, that was decisive. Yo almost came back on exit, but Xenon covered off that decision. And she claims 3rd. A double podium for Dodge Machines, but obviously Xenon doesn't drive for Mopar Garage. Yo 4th, and Liz 5th. It is a, well, 2-6-13. I didn't even talk about you. You got damaged on lap 1 in both events. This is Nijika Rain. This is just another Art of Speed driver. You can see the logo on the recorder there, underneath Rotiform and Nismo. But yeah, a 6th driver to Art of Speed. My God, that team is filling up at a rapid pace. And I know from what I've been told by Logan, who presumably was told by somebody on that team, that their friend group is like 30 fucking people, and I'm just like, you guys are gonna have to figure that out. That's 3 teams right there. Like, fuck. Yeah, apparently Rain is just another idol. I know that you're probably getting sick of hearing that. I know Thrasher certainly is. But don't worry, she also worked part-time in a maid cafe. And she's also Russian. This is just like a microcosm of Muse right here. She's Russian like Ellie, looks like Maki, worked at a maid cafe in Akihabara like Kotori did. I say she looks like Maki. Her avatar looks like Maki, but her in real life, as I'm told, she looks pretty similar to Kotori. Nonetheless, 180SX just really got screwed though, because she's gotten damage in both attempts at this race. That didn't stop Isabelle, but then again, she only got it in the first attempt, so that's not really a fair comparison. Thursday brings us to Tsukuba Circuit for the 525 class, and it is considerably damp on the circuit at the moment, as you can see from the sheer amount of precipitation that is currently ongoing, coating the track. And I guess the 525 class is probably the safest and best suited, since they're just going the slowest around any given track. But rain is a challenge regardless of whether you're driving an LMP1 car or a go-kart. So we are green from intermediate conditions. Man, that garbage truck does not accelerate. I don't know why I'm surprised, but it does not. Noir is the POV driver in this race. Everybody meanders their way through the first corner here at Tsukuba. I imagine people, not only was there's a very big concertina effect, but also people trying to feel out where in the world we can find grip on a wet track like this. Not that it's that wet, but it's wet enough to be a problem. And Natsuki already leads the way. I believe she started in third, but just got a really good launch. Was able to be the first to find traction, and I'm admittedly not surprised that she was able to achieve that. And Logan runs in second place. Clearly not too bothered by the rain falling on top of him, since he's driving a fucking convertible, but, I mean, he's not sugar, he's very far from being sweet. Up and Noir's already in the ninth, Jesus Christ. Trying to maybe cut back on Futaba. Nope, she's just gonna try and just out-drag the Suzuki. Seems like that'd be a little difficult to do when that thing is four-wheel drive and it's raining, but what would I know? She does it anyway, and she gets into 8th at that. Sweeping around the outside of the S13 of Joshua Riggs. My God. She's found the traction, ladies and gentlemen. She has indefinitely found that traction. Passing Rise and AJ on a single straightaway. Bars. Camera just shook so much right there. That was a little, not unsettling, just distracting, I guess. Ahead of fellow S660 Honoka. AJ will follow her by. I have to actually defend from AJ because he got aggressive on the braking, or little braking you have to do for that last turn. 2 laps in, 2 minutes in for that matter, might be a better measurement of time with how quick laps are at Tsukuba, even in cars of this pace. Up to the back of Kotori in the A112, almost at A110, that is a very different car. Better cornering grip, just not quite enough yet, but it will be in a second. And clear under braking. Yeah, Noir just has that car on rails right now. Obviously everything is relative when you're only doing about, no higher than 100 miles an hour anywhere on the track, except for the first, going into turn 1. Not even on the back straightaway are you hitting 100, so ahead of Logan. The Miata is not able to resist that at all. Now there's only one more pass to make. Logan thinks about sending it, but probably remembers what happened last week and just like, nah. Or not last week. I think it was 2 weeks ago. The roulette race of Deep Forest. I think it was 2 weeks ago when Logan just pile drive the back bumper of this very same car that Noir is currently driving, except he was driving a Firebird that was 3 categories and 150 performance points higher. One more overtake to make, and something tells me that it's going to be a formality. Jesus. Yeah. Super late on the brakes, gets it stopped, gets into the lead. That camera does just shake like that. That's kind of weird. Most replay cameras in this game don't actually do that, even when they should. Narashi had the momentum initially, but she just did not use it correctly, and that gave Noir quite a bit of breathing room, almost. And we're only halfway through the race, and she's already into the lead. Might just be a case of her running away from here by the looks of things. About 2/3 of a lap later, we look back to 6th place. Francisco Fedonzi trying to take his mother's car up into 6th place ahead of Joshua Riggs. He's ahead up the apex, but does Joshua Riggs have a response up his sleeve? To have Slipstream, what little that'll do at this speed, yeah, I don't think he has anything to offer the Alfa Romeo. Oh, he will get sideways. I think Francisco was expecting something, but that didn't ever happen. 2 laps to go now for Victoria Noir, and indeed that is a comfortable and expanding advantage over the Corolla 11 of Natsuki Narashi. About 4 seconds in it at this point. 3 and 3, like maybe like 3.6 or so, I'd say. But once you get past like 2 and you're gaining, it doesn't really matter. The point is, she's ahead, and I don't really think there's anything anybody can do to get up to her at this point. Parrish is just not equipped for Tsukuba. Maybe not surprising, but like, I believe that he was the fastest car in the vehicle. This is the fastest vehicle in this category, but it seems that he has not had a chance to stretch his legs, so to speak. Makes sense at Tsukuba. And he is not far away from being put a lap down in this race. I reckon if this was a 10-lap race, he would be in legitimate danger of that happening to him. Final lap for the O2 of Noir. I wouldn't be surprised if the gap from Noir to Teresh is probably less than the gap, is probably less than the gap from Noir to Narashi by the time we take the checkered flag here in about 30 seconds. And you can even see it in the lap times too. Natsuki is just deathly slow right now, but even that 106.4 that Logan ran on the last lap, probably to try and get to Natsuki, just not mean anything at this point. That's way too late for that to help. And so now just one more turn to make for the NFR driver, team owner for that matter. As Teresh is just up the road, Victoria Noir grabs an easy victory at Tsukuba Circuit. Natsuki will still hold on to 2nd place, and Logan will round out your podium. Kotori 4th. Fedonzi managed to get AJ somewhere. I may as well go back and look at that to at least make this race seem somewhat interesting. Looks like he got it done on the way to turn 1 at the very start of the last lap. Just later on the brakes, AJ really cut him some slack on the way in, and I don't think he needed to leave him that much space, and that was what sealed the deal, so to speak. Looks like he wanted to try and do something with Kotori there, but the way that that corner is shaped just made it impossible to do so without initiating major contact. Yeah, that is one of the more dominating victories we have seen in some time here in the Challenge Series. That must have been like 7-8 seconds at the line. Finally, it is Friday. Time for the roulette race, which takes us to Fuji Speedway, the good old home of the Challenge Series itself, in the flesh. It's honestly been a little longer than usual since our last appearance here. Figured it was high time we rectified that. We've been running back and forth in the North American continent more than anything lately. Even this week we had 2 races there, and I believe it was originally planned that Wednesday's race was going to be at Blue Moon Bay, but it got moved at the last second due to a overlap in events there. So we were just like, well, guess we go to Croatia. I don't really know how we got from Seattle to Croatia, but I imagine it was probably different people wanting different events on the same day. Probably someone like Tyler or Logan was trying to get us in at Blue Moon Bay, but when that failed, I'm sure it was somebody like Noir or Nutari that was just like, well, Dragon Trail doesn't have anything this week, so you might as well pop by there and get a race in. And oh boy, I'm sure we made the track marshals' lives living hell at the initial start with Reiko and Fenny things, but regardless, let's hope we don't have anything like that here as we head into into Fuji. Not that I don't think the track marshals would care at this point, but not here. They're kind of used to. I said they're used to dumb shit. There really isn't a whole lot of dumb shit that has happened here in recent times. You know, the thing that really comes to mind was like the time back in early season 1 when Wayne Hansen and Dom DePrisco and Brian Ice had their first confrontation at this track, and that was a fun time to be had by everybody who wasn't driving a Lamborghini. We are excuse me. We are away from Fuji Speedway. Yeah, that's the place. Oh my god, that cough just like turned my brain off for a moment there. Jennifer McKinley is the POV driver in a very sideways Camaro Z01, representing the 750 class, so she'll be expected to move up to the front of the field as quickly as humanly possible, and she's already in the ninth, so she's doing pretty well at that. Reiko Mishima is currently working on that herself. She needs to get past Yo, and she'll be the race leader and the class leader. Here we have the actual representation here. Spencer Snyder has a second new car to show us this round. A 2006 Dodge Viper. And this time the leaderboard crew did in fact get this correct. Now Jackson Steele is properly labeled on his car. Strangely, okay, there we go. I see a lot of cars with rear bumper damage, but I don't see many with front damage. What gives? I guess somehow, some way, Jake managed to instigate damage on like 2 cars, and Luke Conway instigated damage himself as well. Yeah, 6th place. Jennifer McKinley is already making the kind of progress we had expected. Blonde up to running in 4th. I believe, and then Iwasaki got involved in the scuffle at turn 1, so that'll take him out of contention, leaving 750 as basically a 3-competitor group. That car is loud. My word. Spencer Snyder leading 715. Jackson Steele leading 675. Rain is finally going to get the debut that she actually deserves to have, running 9th overall, leading the 640 class in that 180 over her teammate, Karen Len. Her only other competition in that category would be somewhere on the grid Luke Conway, but he got the worst damage of everybody and is running in dead last. So I don't think they'll be dealing with him too much in this one. Jennifer got ahead of Yo, Blonde trying to do the same, not really having the best luck. Down the inside, I think Yo literally just tries to give her the spot, but Blonde somehow tried to reinvent the wheel and ran herself over. That gives both Steele and Fidanzi big damage. that'll pretty much shift the way that the 675 class battle looks right there, as that is big damage to the DSO 20 as well. And Jackson Steele's car is not looking great either. Just a very clumsy move from what should be one of the most planted cars on the track, and I don't know what was going on there. Blonde, Yo literally let her by. Yo knows that this is not a vehicle she has to keep behind her, and she just lets her go at the chicane, and Blonde just cooked it for no reason. She's not pitting either, which is confusing. No one is pitting, for that matter. Weird. That's rare. Metagaming, the AI usually pits second they have damage, so I'm not sure why they just decided that's not required this time. That 180 can really haul in a straight. God. Or maybe it's just that Lens Volkswagen cannot. I think it's actually that Lens Volkswagen really can't, because Noir's Camaro is about to exceed its top speed, and that's a 600 class car. And then we just have Iwasaki almost hitting 200 on the way in, braking early so that he doesn't find himself in the back of the Cosworth, but Jake doesn't care. He and his new Porsche 992, because I forgot this is in fact a new car, but he has been blocked by Thea Angelos in the Escort up there. But yeah, apparently from what I've been told, in the last week or so, Toyota and TGR bought themselves out of their contract with JSR. And I guess part of that buyout money went to acquiring this 992. That's my only guess. It didn't seem like they were using the Toyota partnership for much anyway, outside of a couple of cars. Jake was still predominantly driving things that weren't made by Toyota anyway. He has a Miata, a McLaren, a Beetle, now just a bigger, faster Beetle too. While I was talking about the debuting cars, I definitely missed this bizarre incident with Jennifer McKinley. I think her car bottomed out under braking, and she had to just send it to the right to avoid smacking into Snyder big time. And it wasn't until the start of the next lap that she finally got ahead of the 715 leader, and immediately had Reiko Mishima in her sights. Now Blonde pits, and I imagine, yeah, Fidanzi and Steele have to do the same, so Neptune will inherit the category lead by doing absolutely nothing. And we're going to have the battle for the lead settled right here, right now. McKinley versus Mishima. Mishima's had it out for one of Jennifer's teammates all month, pretty much. That was really ugly. Oh my word. Fine traction. Golly, that thing is unsettled. That could have been the pass for the lead, but Jennifer's Camaro very clearly had some other ideas. Now we're on the front straightaway. Jennifer's car can't lose control here, and she should have a bit of a power advantage over that Ferrari F40. I don't think she'll be close enough to pass her into turn 1 though. Scooter, I think, is brave enough to try, considering what happened a lap ago. That thing is just very reluctant. Not only does it slide everywhere, when both under braking and under low speed traction, it also just slides. It just doesn't turn either. That thing just does not look fun to drive. I do not envy being Jennifer. I would not want to be driving that, by the looks of it. Sneaking through the middle sector, right back to the rear of that F40. It seems as though the 525 lap traffic will play a factor in this battle for the lead. Maybe not what they wanted to see. It looks like Joshua Riggs is going to be not too intrusive. That's about the line I think Jennifer was going to take her there anyway, so I don't think the way that this thing handles would have allowed her to take any other freaking lane. Now Reiko's feeling the pressure now. Oh, that the bright green Camaro is filling up her side mirrors. And the mirror, I guess, in the car as well. They've split the difference around Ashhart, but Jennifer is making a brand new line through there. I guess she really wanted to cut down, but she thought she'd clear Ashford on the way through. She did not, but I don't believe it'll matter. Jennifer McKinley will grab the lead using that power advantage in that Camaro. Reiko is helpless. And it seems NFR will be getting the last lap this week. This could be the last lap too, as I flub that up. Iwasaki is not going to be competing for much. No, he's going to be fighting Jake Scarborough for last in the category, basically. Neptune is going to beat multiple cars in categories below her. Blonde has fucked it again. Another mighty whack into the back of Isabel's GT350R. Doesn't damage the Mustang, but it damaged the GT1. Reiko's hanging with Jennifer McKinley, and she might have an advantage going through these hairpins, but I don't think it'll matter. As long as Jennifer doesn't literally spin the car around, she'll be able to just recover everything she lost in these hairpins once she gets back onto the front straightaway and grab the checkered flag regardless. You can just see on the telemetry just how timid she's got to be on the throttle to keep this thing from getting away. But she's done it well enough. The final corner is in her mirrors. And now it's just a run down to the finish line. This is going to be the final lap, and Jennifer McKinley is going to be the winner. Reiko Mishima right behind. Spencer Snyder in this Viper's debut will win the 715 category, albeit a category when he only really had to fight one car for. Neptune will back her way into a category win, even though it was very clear that Fidanzi and Steele had the faster cars, except for, then Blonde had a skill issue. Rain will finally get the debut she deserves, winning the 640 class over her teammate Len. I question you. Noir will win the 600 class. Basically uncontested. She only had to beat Thea Angelos for that, and she did so handily. And Carrie Vert will win the 525 category. We had each of the goddesses, the 4 Neptunia goddesses, in a different category. And hilariously, the one in the fastest category was not the one that finished the highest. Neptune in the 675 class was the fastest goddess on the track. Mainly because Blonde in the 750R car was incompetent. Noir and Vert won their categories without problems. So Blonde is the odd one out, as the only goddess who did not win the category they were competing in.